One of the best films on Apple TV at the moment is one that I don't think enough people are talking about, and one that I had to stumble upon in July this year when my husband and I were spending more time browsing for a film than the length of time it would actually take to watch a film. We finally settled on Ghosted, starring Anna de Armas and Chris Evans, and no, don't worry, that is not the film that we're going to be talking about today, but I just wanted to give it a moment of gratitude, because if it weren't for that film, we might not have wanted to redeem our movie night and found one of the best films I've seen this year. That film is Cha Cha Real Smooth. Now, before I get into talking about what makes this film so great, I just want to take a moment to talk about the man who made this film, Cooper Raiff, who is an American filmmaker who has released 2 feature-length films so far in his career, Shithouse in 2020 and Cha Cha Real Smooth in 2022. Both films have received critical acclaim. He has been featured on Variety's list of directors to watch in 2022, and he's launched his own production company called Small Ideas. He wrote, produced, directed and starred in Cha Cha Real Smooth alongside notable names such as Dakota Johnson and Leslie Mann. And he's 26 years old. He is 1 year older than me. Cha Cha Real Smooth follows Andrew, a 22-year-old college graduate whose girlfriend Maya has moved to Barcelona whilst he has moved back home, is working at a fast food restaurant and trying to save up money to join her. After chaperoning his younger brother David to a bat mitzvah and managing to get all the kids to get on the dance floor and have a really good time, he's recruited by other mums attending to get him to become a party starter for their children's bat and bar mitzvahs. There he ends up befriending 32-year-old single mother Domino and her autistic daughter Lola. This film depicts perfectly the confusing, turbulent time that is your early 20s. Not a child anymore, but not quite an adult either. Thrown into the deep end of real life and watching as all of your peers flounder around you until each one of you learns how to swim on your own at different points in your life. Our main character Andrew is a complete romantic at heart, and we learn this from the very first scene when he is introduced to us as a teenager, experiencing his first love and heartbreak at a bat mitzvah. We watch as Andrew becomes enamored with the party started there, and we see him admit this to his mother.
I'm in love, Mom.
Shut up. Who?
Bella. The girl leading the dances.
After this, Andrew is rejected by his crush and is left heartbroken. His first heartbreak is innocent and brutal at the same time, and as we watch his mother climb into the backseat of the car to comfort him, we are immediately drawn to these characters who are so open and honest with their feelings. The scene that follows shows an older Andrew who is being subtly rejected by his girlfriend Maya, who is telling him she's moving to Barcelona. Andrew is oblivious to the fact that he is being broken up with essentially in this moment. These opening scenes are so perfect at setting the tone of the film, as it introduces our main character Andrew as this lovable but naive, hopeless romantic who has a very close, loving relationship with his mother, and it emphasises that whilst he has experienced unluckiness in love, it refuses to dampen his spirit, and that foreshadows his later relationship in the film with Domino. What strikes me most about this film is how we, the audience, view the film through Andrew's perspective completely. We can observe Andrew objectively and witness his good and bad moments, but when it comes to other characters in the film that Andrew is interacting with, we're seeing them through Andrew's point of view rather than an unbiased and omniscient camera lens. I think this is most noticeable through the film's depictions of the characters of Andrew's stepdad Greg and Domino's fiance Joseph. When we are first introduced to Greg, we are quickly made aware of the fact that within this family dynamic, Greg is the outsider in this family. He's the odd one out to Andrew, David and their mum. He is sensible, logical and doesn't really entertain the whimsies of the other three. He is, from Andrew's perspective, boring and a destroyer of fun and the childlike wonder that Andrew is desperately trying to hold on to. And because this is how Andrew views him, is how we view him too.
I don't have to worry about so many things because of Greg. I don't expect you to understand that yet.
In this scene, Andrew's mum is describing Greg as less of a romantic partner and more as a protector. Someone who is able to provide for her and her family to keep her safe and her kids safe, who is kind to her and loves her and makes her happy. However, Andrew seems to struggle with the idea of Greg being a romantic partner for his mother, because as a couple they don't fit into his romantic ideas of what a romantic love should be and how love should be shown between two people. Andrew himself is currently saving up enough money to follow his college girlfriend to Barcelona to be with her. And that's how he views showing love for someone, these big grand gestures, rather than the safety and security that his mum receives from Greg. We also see the relationship between Domino and Joseph from Andrew's biased perspective as someone who is gradually falling in love with Domino. When we first meet Domino's fiance, we see that he is the antithesis to Andrew's position and stage in life. He's a high-flying lawyer, dressed in expensive suits, and spends a lot of time away in the city for work. He's rarely seen in the film, and that adds to the elusiveness of his lifestyle to Andrew. And when he does appear in the film, he seems to be a stereotypical depiction of masculine. His feelings expressed through jealous arguments with Domino or passive-aggressive digs towards Andrew about his age or his career. More so than Greg, who I think the viewer can sympathise with as a nice but boring man. Joseph is portrayed as quite unlikable, as an antagonist in the film, as in every scene he's in, he is either standoffish or accusatory. And when I first watched this film, in real time, I was thinking maybe the storyline was going to go to a place where Domino was being abused by him. And I think Raiff does that on purpose. He frames the film from Andrew's perspective and depicts Joseph from his eyes as this alpha male threat to someone that Andrew cares deeply about. I'd like to reiterate here that whilst we are viewing other characters through Andrew's perspective, we as a viewer still retain the ability to criticise Andrew for his decisions, as there are times through the film where we can observe Andrew's actions towards Domino and her family as overstepping and inappropriate. For example, at one point in the film, Andrew is speaking to Domino about soulmates and states that he believes that people have multiple soulmates throughout their lives.
How many soulmates?
For you, like 4.
4?
Yeah, 4 soulmates.
I probably haven't met any of them.
No, you have. God puts them like on your path so you'll cross.
How many do you have?
Like 1,200.
Have you met any?
Yes.
Andrew's response here is clearly him implying that he and Domino are soulmates and that Domino and Joseph are not. And honestly, I think this is such a testament to Raiff's acting here, because I think if someone else had acted in this scene, Andrew would have come across as extremely arrogant, condescending, and blatantly rude. But instead, his performance as Andrew is so completely honest that whilst his comments are inappropriate to say the least, he is so charmingly earnest, naive, and so clearly believes in this romantic, titanic level of love that he is spouting off about, that you forgive him and you laugh along with Domino. But this moment I think is really, really important because it also makes you take a step back as a viewer and remember that Domino has a fiance. And a part of me started to view Andrew as how Joseph must be seeing Andrew, as a younger man who is threatening his place in his family. It made me start to sympathise with Joseph and kind of see that he hasn't actually done anything that wrong. He's argued with Domino, yes, but couples argue. And because we've been seeing their relationship through Andrew's eyes, it's Joseph who is out of line when he belittles Andrew, despite the fact that Andrew is the one who is currently trying to make moves on an engaged woman. The common link between Greg and Joseph is that they are both in romantic relationships with women in Andrew's life who he cares deeply about, his mother and the woman he's falling in love with. There are a number of similarities between Domino and Andrew's mother. They both struggle with mental illness. Domino has experienced depression for a lot of her life, and Andrew's mum is bipolar. They're both single mothers who care and love their children so deeply. Their main goal in life is to ensure that their children are safe and happy and loved, and they have both chosen to be with men that Andrew deems unworthy of them. And maybe that's why Andrew is drawn to Domino, because he is seeing so many similarities between Domino's life and his own life with his mother, and he feels like he understands her completely because of that. When Andrew realizes that Domino is not going to leave Joseph to be with him, he starts spiraling, he starts drinking at work, He is very mean to his younger brother David, who has been seeking advice from him on how to go about having his first kiss. He is the teenager that we met in the first scene, heartbroken, unable to process his feelings properly after having made himself so vulnerable. His perspectives on romantic love and relationships are crumbling around him, and with it, so are his perspectives of Greg and Joseph. Towards the end of the film, during an altercation between Domino's daughter Lola and a group of her peers who are bullying her, Andrew's mum is assaulted and Greg jumps in defense of her and punches a man.
Well, no one hits your mother.
For the first time in the film, Andrew is able to view Greg through the lens that his mother views him, as a protector, and he begins to accept this as an equally valuable and valid expression of romantic love. Shortly after this scene, we see Joseph approaching Andrew in his car after Andrew has visited Domino's house for the last time. In a scene in which we expect Joseph to intimidate Andrew in an attempt to assert his place in Domino's life, we instead see him express gratitude towards Andrew for protecting Lola and looking out for his family. This interaction echoes an earlier scene in which Joseph comments on Andrew's age and Andrew feels patronised and goes on the defensive. But in this scene, in response to Andrew's being just a kid, he tells him it's okay and thanks him for looking out for his family. In this moment, Joseph becomes more than just the antagonistic fiance who's coming between Andrew's feelings for Domino, and he becomes a regular guy who was understandably angry and annoyed at this 22-year-old man who was trying to swoop in and take his family away from him, acting like he could do a better job with his family. By framing this film from Andrew's perspective, Raiff is able to depict his journey from a romantic, idealistic 22-year-old whose perspective on love and life is completely skewed by his age and lack of experience, into a man who is still a romantic at heart. He retains that joy within him, but he comes to understand that romantic love can be shown in so many different ways and be seen in so many different forms. He also realizes that whilst he can love someone and be loved in return, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are right for each other. I want to end this video talking about the title of the film. In response to why Raiff named the film Cha Cha Real Smooth, he said, "It's the part of the dance where you do your own dance." I think that is such a perfect summary of what this film is about and what being in your early 20s is about. For most of us, from the day we are born up until the time that we leave the safety net of our family home, we experience life through a series of monumental milestones that have been laid out before us. And most of these milestones take place during the shared experience we have of attending school, a period which takes up most of our childhood. School is where you develop your academic, social, and life skills. It's where you make friends, it's where you begin your development into a young adult and start molding your personality around your likes and dislikes, your sense of style, the things that make you laugh and cry and care. When you're young, you are guided through life through a series of steps that have been predetermined for you. And whilst you are encouraged to explore your individuality and experience new things, it can often feel quite hard to do so because you're confined by what you can do, where you can go, what friends you can make. The traditional school environment is not a universal space where all children will thrive, but most children aren't given the choice in where they learn. So for a lot of young adults leaving home for the first time, they're encountering this level of freedom that they've never experienced before. They're thrown into a world where everyone is doing their own dance and there are no universally decided steps for you to follow. DJ Casper isn't yelling at you to slide to the left or crisscross. This is your chance to cha-cha real smooth and do your own dance. And whilst that is liberating, it is also so challenging to find your feet and stay in time with the music. In Cha Cha Real Smooth, Raiff shows us that whilst this is one of the scariest transitions in life, it is one to be embraced. It is a time in which you should absolutely try new things and make mistakes in order to learn and grow as a person. Despite his free spirit, Andrew doesn't really have dreams of his own in the film. The reason he moves home is so that he can save up enough money to follow a girl to Barcelona, all the while trying to convince himself and his mother that it has nothing to do with Maya at all, it's what he wants to do. Then he wants to settle down with Domino and Lola despite his young age, because he believes he would be able to make them happy.
You can't just decide that you love somebody and then that's that and everything's great. You don't even know who you are yet.
He is chasing the feeling of being in love so hard that he is forgetting to embrace the opportunities laid out before him in his early 20s, the endless number of roads laid out before him that could take him anywhere. By the end of the film, Andrew is thriving in a job he loves, where he can help people and feel fulfilled. And at the end of the film, we see him dancing for the first time by himself in a nightclub. For the first time in a film where he has been helping other people to dance their own dance, he is finally able to do his own too. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope if you've not seen this film, you want to go and watch it. I literally can't emphasize enough how much I loved it. I hope you have an amazing upcoming week, and I'll see you next week. Bye!